Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a close look at the source material around a real giant of literature, George Orwell's Animal Farm, published back in 1945. And our mission really is to go beyond just the surface allegory you might remember from school. We want to figure out why this story, this novella, still feels so incredibly relevant, almost like a constant warning.
That's exactly right. We've dug into quite a bit of research on the book's context, both politically and literarily. And what really jumps out is how it provides this kind of chilling blueprint for how tyranny takes hold. So for this deep dive, we're zeroing in on three main things Orwell shows us. How revolutionary ideals can get corrupted almost instantly, the scary power of propaganda, and what happens to a working class that's maybe too trusting, too naive.
Okay, yeah, let's set that stage. Most listeners probably know the basic parallel, right? Animal Farm mirrors the Russian Revolution. You've got Old Major, the dreamer, that's kind of Marx or Lenin. Mr. Jones, the farmer they overthrow. He's Tsar Nicholas II. And then the core conflict emerges between Snowball, the thinker, the visionary that's Trotsky and Napoleon, the strong man, the manipulator who is clearly Stalin.
And the real genius of the book isn't just mapping character to historical figure. It's showing how it happens, how quickly those initial noble ideas of animalism just get twisted and abandoned. It starts with this really inspiring vision, doesn't it? Freedom, equality, the 7 commandments, all designed to break free from human oppression.
But that vision sours so fast, almost immediately after the animals take over. The power struggle between Snowball and Napoleon, it's not just debate, it becomes, dangerous. Snowball's pushing for progress, things like the Windmill, organizing committees. He thinks logic will prevail.
Yeah, and what's really striking there is how Napoleon just bypasses all that discussion. He doesn't really engage in the debate. He goes straight for brute force. He'd secretly raise these 9 enormous dogs, completely loyal only to him. And the moment Snowball makes his big pitch for the windmill, Napoleon gives a signal. The dogs attack. Snowball is chased off the farm. Gone. Just like that.
It's so stark. And the historical parallel is right there. Stalin driving out Trotsky, the purges. It's direct. But what does that moment, that specific mechanism, tell us about how corruption actually works in these situations?
Well, it shows that ideals, even brilliant ones, are incredibly vulnerable to raw power. Snowball believed in the idea of the revolution. Napoleon understood power wasn't about ideas, it was about control, physical control, force, and the speed of it all. The betrayal happens before things are even really settled. It tells you the corruption was probably there, maybe waiting right from the start, the moment they had unchecked power.
Okay, so physical control is established first, force. Then you shift gears into controlling minds, which brings us right to that first big theme you mentioned. The abuse of language, propaganda. And the embodiment of this is Squealer, right? Napoleon's sort of minister of propaganda.
Absolutely. Squealer is a master manipulator. His whole function is to spin everything, rewrite the past, twist words, make the pig's actions, which get more and more selfish, seem not just acceptable, but necessary, noble even. Always for the good of the farm,
It's pure gaslighting, isn't it? On a massive scale, forcing the animals to doubt what they actually remember. And the clearest example is how they mess with the 7 commandments, the actual written law of animalism.
Exactly. Think about no animal shall sleep in a bed. Seems pretty clear-cut. It marks the difference between animal and human. But then the pigs move into the farmhouse. They start sleeping in beds. So Squealer has to explain it away. He tells the other animals, a bed is just a place to sleep. Piles of straw are beds, technically. The real rule was against sheets, he claims, because sheets are a human invention.
The sheer audacity of it, redefining basic words right in front of them. And it happens again with alcohol, doesn't it? No animal shall drink alcohol.
Until the pigs find Mr. Jones's whiskey.
Then, suddenly, it's amended, quietly, to no animal shall drink alcohol to excess.
And it's not just Squealer doing the work. You have to remember the sheep, too. They're maybe not malicious, but they're crucial. They represent that mass of, unthinking followers.
So just repeat the slogans.
Yeah, their constant bleating of 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Right. That simple chant. It's used to just shut down any real discussion. Any complex thought Snowball tries to introduce gets drowned out.
It's a classic totalitarian tactic, isn't it? Create simple, loud, endlessly repeated noise. It stops people from thinking critically. Why engage with difficult truth when you can just join the chant? If you control the language, control the slogans, make people doubt their own memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, you basically control their reality.
And that leads directly into the consequences of that control.
Yeah.
Our second theme, the tragedy of the naive working class. We're talking about the animals who aren't pigs, and especially Boxer, the horse.
Boxer. Yes. He really stands for the proletariat, doesn't he? the dedicated, loyal workers who believe completely in the cause. His strength, his work ethic, it's immense. He's utterly sincere in his faith in the revolution and in Napoleon.
And his mottos, they're just heartbreaking in retrospect. I will work harder.
And the other one.
Napoleon is always right. That blind trust, even as things are clearly getting worse for everyone but the pigs, he values effort over critical thought.
And the irony is just painful. The windmill, this supposed symbol of progress for all animals, it gets built mostly because of Boxer's incredible labor. He literally works himself to death for it, which sets up what is, for me anyway, maybe the most devastating betrayal in the whole book. It's Orwell's ultimate indictment of the system.
So when Boxer finally collapses, he's worked himself into the ground. What does the state do for its most loyal citizen?
Does Napoleon honor him? Give him the peaceful retirement he was promised? No. Squealer announces Boxer's being sent to a top veterinary hospital in Willingdon for treatment. Sounds good, right? But Benjamin, the old, cynical donkey, he can read. And he sees the sign on the van taking Boxer away.
What does it say?
It says, Alfred Simmons, horse slaughterer and glue boiler, the knacker's yard.
Oh, God. So they didn't send him for help?
No, they sold him. They traded their hardest, most loyal worker's life for money to buy whiskey for the pigs.
That's the final turn of the knife. The revolution consuming its own. The system literally eats its most devoted members once they stop being useful.
It really hammers home a tough lesson, doesn't it? That loyalty and hard work on their own aren't enough to protect you from tyranny. You need critical thinking. You need vigilance. You have to be willing to question authority, even authority you initially believed in. Boxer had the heart, but not the head, in that sense.
And we should quickly touch on Benjamin here, too, the donkey. He sees it all coming, doesn't he? But he's so cynical, he barely says anything. He sort of represents that intellectual who knows things are going wrong but doesn't act. Believes nothing can really change anyway. Things never had been, nor could be much better or much worse.
Benjamin is so important because he shows that just knowing isn't enough. His inaction, his silence for so long, it's a kind of complicity. He only sounds the alarm about the knacker's van when it's literally driving away with Boxer inside. Too late. That passive cynicism, it enables the pigs just as much as the sheep's chanting does, in a way.
It really does. And that's the power of Animal Farm, isn't it? Using this deceptively simple fable, the story about animals, to make these huge, complex political points stick.
Exactly. And the ending is just masterful. It's so bleak. The other animals, years later, peeking into the farmhouse window, they see the pigs are having dinner, playing cards with the human farmers from next door, and the line. They look from pig to man, and from man to pig, and from pig to man again. But already it was impossible to say which was which.
Chilling. The revolution didn't just fail, came full circle. They just swapped one set of masters for another. The new boss looks exactly like the old boss.
And that hammers home the modern relevance, the urgency we talked about at the start. Orwell wasn't just writing history, he was giving us a warning, a pattern. Think about today. Misinformation, fake news, propaganda, spin. Sophisticated ways of controlling the narrative. His warnings about twisting language, about the dangers of a population that doesn't pay close attention. They feel more urgent now than maybe even in 1945.
Yeah, if someone can control the language, control the story you hear, they really do control your perception of reality. The big takeaway from all the sources we looked at seems to be that old phrase, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance, it's not passive.
You have to be active, you have to question. You can't let yourself get drowned out by the noise, the slogans, the sheep.
Or get confused by the clever arguments of the squealers, because if you do, well, your memory, your reality, it could just be rewritten. A really powerful reminder of why diving back into classics like Animal Farm is so important. It's not just a historical artifact, it's speaking to us right now. If you haven't read it in a while, seriously, pick it up. You'll probably see today's world reflected in unsettling ways.
Definitely. So we've talked about the mechanisms of power, the betrayal, especially of Boxer, the role of Snowball. But let's leave you with a final thought, something to maybe chew on, building from the sources. When you think about all the characters who were betrayed or who failed, who represents the deepest tragedy? Is it Boxer, the completely loyal worker destroyed by the system he built? Is it Snowball, the thinker, the idealist, driven out before he could really make a difference, maybe because he didn't understand power? Or could it even be Benjamin, the one who knew, who saw it all, but stayed silent out of cynicism until it was far too late, whose failure was the most profound?
That's a tough question. Different kinds of failure, different kinds of tragedy. Something definitely worth thinking about. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you'll continue your own explorations into critical literature. See you next time.